that if problems like these would be solved by summits, we wouldn't be having any problem at all. We have had many summits.
With little progress.
With little or no progress.
Wow, there's no amount of summit that can solve our challenges. Welcome and greetings all of you, dear family, friends, fellow Africans. That is President Paul Kagame speaking at the Africa CEO Forum. In that forum, one of our brothers asked President Paul Kagame when African leaders will open borders for Africans to trade themselves. Listen this critical question from this intelligent African brother. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm asking to President Kagame that I commend for his achievement here. But yes, I know that it's a big challenge for you to try to convince the other countries to change from being countries as such, because when you look at it, Europe today is it's different presidents that are like governors of different entities and are working together. African countries, to travel from one African country to another is a big issue. We're talking about conflict, but before we even go to conflict, it's very difficult to just cross from one border to another. You have been complaining yesterday of the fact that it's a challenge to convince your colleagues. I want to know what they tell you. What is their problem? Why aren't they ready to start opening those borders? Please, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. President,
Yes.
clear question there. What's the problem?
I know the problem, but I can't find the answer.
Well, identifying the problem is always the first step.
Yes, but I'll probably speak to the two questions combined.
Please, yes. We're tight for time. Yeah.
First, the conflicts inevitably affect regional integration.
Yes.
But one, I want to see it as having problems which we must try and address simultaneously, rather than just saying, let's address one, then we move to another. While we try to prevent or resolve conflicts that exist, we, at the same time, have to be working on integration. Yes. Because there are aspects of integration that can make progress even with the conflicts that we have. In fact, the beauty of it, well, I'm not talking about the beauty of conflict, I'm talking about the beauty of having such a multi-pronged approach. Yeah. Is that we have seen already the people of any country in our region or beyond. The African people, for them, they are ahead of their leaders in terms of understanding the importance of integration or even practicing it.
Yes, it's true that African people are ahead of their leaders, and that's why you saw Africans came out in numbers to support Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Till today, no any political African leader who came out except Julius Malema and MK Party in South Africa, who came out and speak openly to support Captain Ibrahim Traoré. You can see that African people are ahead of our leaders. Our leaders are behind. I don't know why. Thanks to President Paul Kagame for exposing them. Maybe they fear something, but we young people, Africans, we are ahead of our leaders. So be proud, young people. That's why they're not talking about collapsing borders. They're not talking about when Africa is going to be integrated. They're just talking about these small things that are not uniting people, as if they don't know the importance of coming together. So let us continue with President Paul Kagame.
In fact, even some conflict areas, people are working together, doing business, there's trade going on, even with bullets flying over their heads. They are busy doing that. So it's a responsibility of governments, of leaders, political leaders, to make sure that should not be the case, or it should not be normalized, that we can keep on conflicts and then, okay, and say there is integration taking place after all, so why don't we? No, I think we need to tackle both, prevent conflicts or stop them, at the same time encourage regional integration, because that is what should be. And if you look at the African continent, in fact, I didn't say that I did not convince African leaders to the importance of regional integration. I was only referring to the difficulties where, for example, I have to, in fact, commend the African leaders who, in the first place, have been behind the thrust of seeing regional integration, of seeing the CFTA. They are the ones, the leaders are the ones who sat and said, we know we must have this continental free trade area, because they wanted it. They knew the importance. But this is in spite of the fact that conflicts have been there, or others will come, and so on and so forth. So leaders should go beyond just dealing with one issue at a time, but rather address across the board.
Across the panorama of concerns.
That's what we need to do. So, one, I agree, conflicts affect regional integration, and we need to put more time and energy and everything we have to make sure that we reduce on or eliminate conflicts. Same time, I encourage regional integration. In fact, one helps the other.
Mutually reinforcing.
Yes. If you do that, regional integration encourages trade, business to happen, and these things help reduce on the conflicts or the causes of conflict once people are busy with the most serious issues.
Thanks.
So that is the most important. And on the other one, I don't think there is, I don't think there is anything wrong with the leaders as such cutting across. Yes, there are places you can say they have a problem, there are others that don't have much in terms of problem. And so we try to see how, again, come back to the point of working together. But the other part, let me leave it to my brother, friend.
Wow, those are best answers from President Paul Kagame of Rwanda. But the doubt is still on the table. When Africans or African people will move freely in their continent? That is a question that we young people, we are posing on the table. We want to know when. Maybe our leaders can tell us, maybe by the year 2050, maybe 2040, 2030, maybe we'll have a borderless continent. But our leaders, it looks like they fear to open borders, because these borders were created by our colonial masters. So I think our leaders fear our colonial masters to open these borders. And we know, all of us, that when Europeans came together, united and divided Africa, the aim is to control Africa and to exploit Africa. So it looks like we are still on the colonies of our colonial master. And that's why we are not ready to open these borders. We are not ready to collapse these borders. Why? Because we are still under colonial masters. So they fear that if we are going to open borders, maybe France is going to lose influence. If we are going to open borders, UK is going to lose influence. If we are going to open borders, and the current influence, such as the United States of America, is going to lose influence. So I think our leaders fear to maybe threats from these colonial master. But all in all, as Africans, we cannot develop without collapsing borders. And we don't need summit, as President Paul Kagame said. We don't need meeting. We need decision and the wills from our leaders. What we see in Burkina Faso is willing action. We want action. What we saw in Alliance of Sahel States is what we need to see in the continent in other leaders. But one thing that we must understand is that through this Western system of governance, they introduced and instilled puppet leaders who are working for masters. So many of them are not ready to collapse these borders because their masters are telling them, don't do this. Don't open border. Don't do that. But it is easy for the same leaders to go and fight fellow Africans. But it's difficult for African leaders to open borders for fellow Africans. So what kind of Africans are we? What kind of Africans are we? It's black men against black men. I think President Paul Kagame has spoken very well that sometimes it is about leadership. The current leadership that we have are not, and that's why I said one day that, you know, we are talking about a united Africa. We will not get a united Africa with the current leadership that we have, because the current leadership that we have obtained from division. These political parties are instrument of division. That's why people are being divided. The same tribe is divided into political parties. The same nations, one nation can be divided into 15 political parties. So people are obtained from the system of division. So they want to maintain the system of division. And that's why our leaders are not ready to unite and collapse these borders. So what can we do as Africans, young people? We want to do business in Rwanda. We want to do business in Senegal. We want to move free from Cairo to Cape. We want to move from point of no return in Ghana to Dakar in Senegal without being asked for papers, for visas. We want to move free from Banjul in Central Africa to Dodoma in Tanzania. We want to move from Kampala to Mogadishu, to Addis Ababa, to Khartoum, to Ouagadougou, to Yaoundé. What can we do for we Africans? But we see the Chinese are moving from Cape to Cairo, moving from Dar es Salaam to Nairobi, Nairobi to Uganda, Kampala, Kampala to Kinshasa. But when will Africans move free in their motherland? So apart from that, also President Paul Kagame has spoken another issue.
That if problems like these would be solved by summits, we wouldn't be having any problem at all. We have had many summits.
With little progress.
With little or no progress. But on the serious side, you see, we want to be serious with matters of stability, of development, of, you know, and we can't achieve that without, as I said earlier on, without cooperation, without working together, without really focusing on the common interests of our countries, of our people, which we should be representing. At the same time, it's unfortunate that some of these serious matters, even efforts we all try to put in, are undermined by petty things, like, for example, if you think that you don't like President Kagame of Rwanda, because you think what should happen in Rwanda is supposed to be dependent on you, on your views, on your decisions, and yet you are from outside. This is bad politics, and it characterizes some of the things we have had to deal with. And we have openly stated that it doesn't matter anybody from outside, whether you like me or you don't like me. The President Kagame is here as the president of Rwanda, as a business of Rwandans. It's their business. If they want Kagame, they will have him. If they don't want him, they remove him. Doesn't matter whether. And I have told some of these friends of ours that it's actually very difficult, next to impossible, to imagine that you don't like Kagame, so you will change him and put there someone you want. It's impossible. But people don't want to hear that. So, therefore, as President Tshisekedi said, it suffices if we chose to concentrate on things that matter to us as individual countries, as well things that matter to all of us together, working together, and then put aside some of these other issues. I think it's the kind of politics that, in fact, the problem you earlier again mentioned about Rwanda and Uganda, yes, there is a small component, just in terms of happening, that brings in the DRC.
Yes.
But the root cause of misunderstandings between two countries, Rwanda and DRC, which are supposed to be really brotherly countries.
The worst quarrels are often within families, aren't
Absolutely.
they? Yeah.
But I think it must come to a point where the family must sit and realistically resolve these issues.
But if not summits, I take your point. As a journalist, I've attended many pointless summits in my life. But if not summits, what? I mean, bilateral, close bilateral consultations. I know your foreign minister has been very clear on your position on the issue. Equally, the foreign minister of Uganda has set out. What mechanisms do you see in place to resolve this?
Continuing to talk about our problems, because I think we exhaust the kind of logic of continuing to undermine each other and come to a point where we find the best thing is to cooperate and work together and accept each other. Right. Or to say the least, if we can't work together as brothers, sisters, as friends, we can decide to give each other peace and forget about what we have to do together, but above all, avoid quarrels that may just be destructive, because no one would win or benefit from any serious quarrel about this. So, but if we forget one another and let each, go about their businesses the way they want, that would be the second choice. Second to being good friends and working together and so on. In
a spirit of cooperation.
Yes, those are also some points delivered by President Paul Kagame during Africa CEO Forum. And of course, he cited on the issue of conflict between DRC and Rwanda and how we can work together. And if we are not going to work together, let us give peace to each other so that you are working alone, but don't disturb your brother country. That is a good thing. But I see also that is difficult, because we have seen these people who are dividing us are using our brother countries to destabilize us. And that's what we see in many African countries. Recently, you heard the story of Cote d'Ivoire being used by France and the US to destabilize Burkina Faso. You see? That's how Africans, we have been designed. I think this is the time for Africans, especially we young people. Our elders have done too much, so let us, we young people, take our baton and learn these issues. Let us come together. If our leaders, our elders fail to come together, we young generation, we need to come together. And when we are talking about coming together, we are talking about economy, development. If we can come together, we can access resources in different parts of this continent. For instance, in Congo, we know there's a lot of resources. Congo has Inga Dam that can produce enough electricity to power the continent, and the surplus can be sold outside there. We have uranium in Niger, in Namibia. So if we can come together as young people, you know, these leaders, many of them by the year 2063, many of them will not be there, and those who will be there will be too old. So they have nothing to do. So we young people, we need to generate things that will help the coming generation, and let us be a foundation for the coming generation. So if our elders, our leaders fail to bring peace, we young people, we need to bring peace. But we have already manipulated, many of us, because we trust these Western media, Eastern media, what they are telling us. We don't know the truth about our mother continent, Africa. Our education was colonized, and that's why you see they send teachers, they come to know what we learn in school, what is our views, what is our mind. They send people. We say these NGOs are coming to help us. These NGOs are spying us. They're studying generation to generation. And that's why you see right now we have generation of puppets. We have to agree that we have a challenge of puppets. That's why you see in Sudan, brothers fighting against brothers. Those are puppets. You cannot kill your fellow brothers. Have you seen that in Europe, in America? It's Africa. Why Africa has a lot of conflict? We have conflict in Sahel. We have unrest in Libya. We have unrest in Congo. We have tribalism war in South Sudan. We have conflict in Sudan. We have unrest in northern Mozambique. Tell me any other continent that have those kind of destabilization. It is Africa. Within Africa, we hate each other. So I think we, the current generation, we have a great duty, first of all, to educate one another. If you go in villages, we have these medias are spreading lies, lot of lies. I have witnessed a lot of lies. People know nothing about this continent. And that's why you see our leaders are not ready to take their students, their children, to these public schools. It's me and you who are taking our children to these public schools. They are preparing our people to be fighters, not to be creators, not to be innovators, but their children are prepared to become leaders. We are going to have people who have got quite education and those who are prepared as a fighters. So we cannot achieve in that way. We need to revolutionize our education systems. We need to liberate our minds. Many young people in this continent know nothing about this continent. And it's because of these borders. These borders are created environment where it is difficult for us Africans to access each other, to come together, to share thoughts. And if you try to move from one country to another, and they know you that you are the one who is awakening people, they will not accept. We have seen people such as Julius Malema was expelled in Botswana in the previous government, was not allowed to enter in Zambia by the previous regime. P.L. Lumumba. You remember when last year, when Alikana Chiombo Likwao, Professor P.L. Lumumba, and Nigerian politician, I forget his name, when they tried to meet young Ghanaians, the government said this congregation is not okay. They expelled them. So I think the time has come for we Africans to know what we can do as the people of Africa. We need to change our mind. We need to teach our people. It is difficult journey, but we are not supposed to tired. We have to take this action as Africans because we are at liberation movement. This is a movement. This is not just maybe politics. This is a movement. We want changes, and how can we change Africans? I know while we are trying to change fellow Africans, there are those who are trying to mislead them. They try to call us bad names, but we must not tired. Africa is for peace. Africa is for development. All of us, let us talk about three things: peace, unity, and love. If we can start talking those three things as Africans, every one of us, let us talk about peace, peace to each other, so that we cannot fight one another. Unity, we can come together. Then love, we can respect and see each other as brothers and sisters. After that, my dear lovely family, friends, fellow Africans, thank you for being with here. Thank you for being here. It's my hope that you are doing well. Please make sure that you share this video and you like it. And also, if you have anything to share with us, do so through the comment section. Stay in power. See you next time.
Thank you, Africa, Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make Africa great. Thank you, Africa. Thank you, Africa.